So I've made the bird with the tail and the head. What I went ahead and did was created another extension to the tail, and that's also hollow too. You can see through that and there, and that'll eventually extend the tail up this way. But this is going to be the whistle end, and the whistle end is going to be really complicated to do, and I'll show you that. I'm going to cover this bird up while I'm working on this. So what needs to happen is that this is the wind way. If I'm blowing in this end, the air is going to enter through the bird's tail this way. What I want to do with that, I'm going to take this knife and clean it off so it's nice and sharp. And we need to cut a ramp into it, kind of a bevel, a sharp angled ramp. And I'll show you that. So if I'm blowing in this way, I want the ramp to come in this way at a 45-degree angle. So I'm going to take this and then kind of cut into this tail like so. And you can see that it's cut at an angle. It's not cutting straight down into it. So there's that. I'm going to pull that out. And here, where I'm blowing in, I'm going to cut straight down like this. So take this and just kind of slice into it. And when I pull this piece out, see if I cut all the way through. Clay is still pretty wet, so it's going to stick to itself. I'm going to try and pull this out so you can see it. Okay, so this little wedge just came out, and as you can see, this is really messy. And what you want is for this whistle to be as clean as possible. The cleaner the whistle is, and the sharper this edge is, the more it's going to sound like a whistle, sharp and clear. So I'm just going to take my needle tool and kind of scrape across it. It should not be this shaped, it should be round. I'm just going to clean some of that clay out. Kind of like this D shape. But you can see that it's kind of cut this wedge into this let's see, piece of clay. Like so, but it's still really dirty. So I'm just going to stick my needle tool in the slip, and that's going to help to smooth out this whistle. I'm just scraping it along there and cleaning it off and scraping it along there to kind of make it nice and sharp. So what happens is when this beveled edge right here, this opening on the back side is nice and sharp, if I blow in here, half of the air is going to be split by that sharp bevel, and it'll come out this top, and then the other half is going to go into the bird's tail, and when the air splits, that's what makes the sound. So this is only partially done. What I need to do is focus the air that I'm blowing in there onto that bevel. So I need to fill this lower half of this opening up with clay so that the airstream is only blowing through the top portion and hitting that bevel. So I'll walk you through this in a minute. So now I've cleaned this up a little bit. It's still not as clean as I'd like it. There's a little divot cut out of it. You can see it on this lower side right here. But I'm going to wait for it to dry a little bit more to fix it. So what I did was I rolled a tiny little coil of clay, and I made sure it was long enough to be inserted until this line right here. So I'm going to insert it until right about there, and then cut it off and then blend it in. So before I do that, I'm going to scratch the lower part of the whistle and then scratch this curved side of this little piece of clay. Put some of this glue on there, and I'm going to pop that in there so it's on the bottom half, like so. See, the bottom half is filled, and then the top half has that opening. But I'm going to watch as it goes inside, and when I can see it on the other side, right there, I'm going to stop right there and take this and just kind of slice off that end piece, and then use my needle tool to kind of blend in this top portion and flatten it out because I want it to focus that airstream into the tube and onto that bevel. Just kind of blending it out, flattening it, sharpening it up, cleaning out the debris. Like I said, the cleaner the airway, the windway, the smoother the sound is going to be. So there's this excess piece in here. I'm just going to kind of try and move that back, push that back, because it needs to be flush with this piece. So it's extending out a little bit too far. I'm just going to push it back a little with the needle tool. And then we're going to give it a try, because you should be able to get a sound out of your whistle before we even fire it. So that's a good thing, because we don't want to fire it if it's not working. Just cleaning it up here. And then sharpening it. And I'm just going to check it one more time, smooth this out a little bit. And if I look inside, I don't see any clay debris. Well, I see a little bit of clay debris, and I'm just going to kind of clean that out. And when I look inside, I should be able to see the bevel, which I do. I can see through the opening as well as where the light is hitting the bevel. And that should make the whistle nice and clear. Just cleaning it out one more time before we try this out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this back end and blow in there. So I'm getting nothing, which means I need to work on it. It's not going to work right away. Well, sometimes it does actually, but most of the time it's not going to work right away. So I'm just going to clean this up. You can see in there, let's see in there, focus. Well, you can see some of that debris. Focus on there. But you've got to clean that out. So sometimes it just takes some working and reworking for it to work. But as long as you've got air hitting that bevel and it's all cleaned out, nice and clear, theoretically it should work. And then just kind of troubleshooting it here and there. So I'm going to try it, blowing in through here. So if I blow hard enough, then I can hear the whistling, but I don't want to have to like get winded and lose consciousness trying to make this thing whistle. So I'm going to need to clean it out some more, work on it some more, and then attach it. All right, so now I've got the whistle to